A lot of people today see a book with a bunch of words. They supposedly don't know what to do with it. Inside the book, and they just see the words and shut it. Till someone discovered that they can make audio books. That's when they supposedly start the reading. Technically speaking, that's not how the reading works. You don't listen to somebody read it to understand it. You have to read it yourself to understand what they're trying to say. However, this is no book. This is an open heart. I'm Sunchipp, and this here is probably the story you did not want to hear. Best time to start a story would be from the beginning, right? So with that said, that's what I'm gonna do.
Wait, did you go yet, Jasmine? Yeah. Oh.
So while I get set here, yes. Alright, so Sunchipp Year 1. It was the best year I actually had in my life. Started animation, and, well, what else could go wrong? It's not like, you know what? Hey, nothing could go wrong here, but yet there's always a downside. I don't even know what I'm saying right now, so let me try to do this all over again. I had an interest in animation ever since I was a little kid. However, the year came in 2009 when people were just like, well, they had these specific animations up. Stop motion animation. It was interesting for me. And to see that people could actually do stuff like this, it looked pretty easy. And it was. I tried it then, and then it stuck in me. Since. No name yet for Sunchipp. However, in 2010, that's when the accidental name came to be. Videos were made non-stop before. However, when Sunchipp came, there was a delay on a lot of videos. And that's somewhat when this story takes an action. Now let's take the lids off and then we can watch from above. In Sunchipp Year 2, we are facing a little issue. It was more of a crew member at the time. An ex-member now. His name was Wayne Stangle. The issue was with him. He was trying his best to get rid of Sunchipp. Why somebody would do that? It's because he had different views. Everything had to be his way. Nothing can be the way people want to see. I tried to do things people wanted to see. He just doesn't understand the showbiz thing. Gotta do what people like. I see a lot of people liking animation. Old, young, new to this world, dying even. They will still have an interest in animation. So let's give them animation. Give them a topic worth watching. I like to stick with adventure. A lot of people seem to like adventure stories. More horror now, but let's face the facts. You don't see horror animations much. At all, I should say. Okay, much. Let's stick with much. They're in existence. But Wayne was just an issue. A horrible issue. I'm Ben Morris, the creator of Sunchipp Studio. No, I'm not losing my voice. Year 3. Here's when the problems came. It wasn't much of a problem. It was more developing something for someone. A close friend of mine by the name of Brittany Reisner. I know more than one Brittany's, so this time I'm being more specific on Brittany, though I did say the last name for Wayne. But let's just not go there. I just kind of decided to have some sort of feeling for her. She liked animation, and I did animation. However, stop motion animation kind of took a little break during this time. Instead, I was working on just 2D animation. Rayman being the start. However, that didn't really go as planned. Although, there is a little clip on YouTube somewhere with the actual thing. But Super Sunchipp Mario Brothers became to be a liking with some of the crew. The crew was very small then. It was mostly family. But they became to like Super Sunchipp Mario Brothers. The style, everything. But then the feeling for Brittany came, and I didn't know what to think of then. So that was the quickest thing I could think of.
Hey guys, Sunchipp here. Sorry if the video is dark, but I'm using my other camera.
So when it came to Brittany all over again, let's just say this is when she started to have them feelings for me. Although, there's a twist. Her grandmother passed away during this time, causing her to have depression. Later on in Sunchipp Year 8, I received apologies from her. The story was, and this relates to the apologies, she convinced people that I was a freak. Although she was the first one to actually think of it. We still talk here and there. Although because I had to restart my Facebook page because it got hacked by a dishonorable mention right now. She probably doesn't even know that I have it. And I haven't, so therefore I haven't heard from her in a long time. And when I said dishonorable mention, it's an ex-member now. So Brittany got into a depression because of her grandmother passing away. She wanted to try to see what it was like going out with me. It just kept on going on and off because of her depression, thinking of her grandmother all the time. She didn't know whether to stay single or to be with me. However, later on, rumors spread after she got through a serious depression. I've even seen this too. I turned around and she was at the table behind me during lunch hours in the 8th grade. And here it's like she was crying. And next thing you know, got her friend to even come and yell at me for something I did not even do. And ever since then, that's when every rumor started to spread that I was a freak. It was minor at the time. But the next year, it was more like it was a shift. I had a buddy, Nick DeRoser, who tried to calm me down. However, he disappeared out of thin air. He was never heard from ever since. But it's like it helped. He also helped get my mind off of Wayne, but I just can't stand the rumors.
Okay, then. In order to get over there, however, we're gonna have to drive. And right now,
I don't feel like walking all the way to my car. Such a long walk. Another thing that I had during year 4, even though it just transitioned to year 5, was stop motion animation. Although year 4 and year 5 was kinda connected. In year 4, there was, actually in year 3, there started a little series, Disasters of the Night, with Super Mario Galaxy's Megaleg. Though his name was updated for less copyright reasons, Megalegs. 2 episodes aired in year 3. Everything else continued in year 4. And that's when our little character cameo Forian decided to show up in all of our stop motion animations. The Super Sunchipp Adventure mini-movie was also released then. But then Island of the Lost Tribe, the production began, but everything shifted to year 5. And Disasters of the Night ended in year 5. This was more of a coping thing, just to calm me down. Working on Disasters of the Night with giant robots and mutants just fighting each other, I guess. But then more rumors decided to spread. And this is when the rumors were major at this time. I became, well, supposedly became a freak, more of a freak, to the point when not only was it that Brittany thought of it, but it was more like the rumors spread to Brittany and then her friends, and then friends of her friends, which leads to their families, spreading the families all around the state. This was a slow process. However, it became so seriously to the states that Northampton County of Pennsylvania, or I should say just the state of Pennsylvania, not the states, but you know what I mean. That Northampton County of Pennsylvania decided to show up and try to investigate this freakiness that they thought of. Came to my house, and yet again, I was the one to put the blame on for supposedly calling them when I never called them. I don't even have contact with them. And because of that, they investigated the high school for a few weeks, trying to get information out of me. And I was going through depression at the time because of people considering me as a freak. With the rumors spreading across the high school, the cities, and then the state. The entire state. Thanks to people's families. It later then happens that I ended up in a facility. Put with my mom. They supposedly thought I had depressions there, saying that I ended up at cutting and burning. The cutting was from a pit bull. And after that, it's just like, I can't stand pit bulls. And even to this day, because of that, I don't like pit bulls. And the burning was just for me helping out with the fireworks during 4th of July. I never burnt my skin. I never cut my skin. I never did anything to my skin. Except later on in Sunchipp Year 8, I got myself a tattoo. But that doesn't count. Because this is year 5 that all this happened. They later on then took me away from my mom because they decided to make that all up. My mom literally crying. It made me feel guilty. For no reason. It was the counties trying to separate me from my family. And you know something? They succeeded. Horribly.
Yo, everybody, Sunchipp Craft here, bringing you another Minecraft production.
Because of their succession of taking me away from my family, Sunchipp Year 6 never existed. So Sunchipp Year 6 is more of a shadow, just hiding there. More of a chopped off limb that hasn't grown properly. And I was more in a facility for a whole year. Not a crazy asylum, but more of some sort of what they call a residential. I don't understand why. I was the best person in there, but yet I was still being mistreated by the staff. Well, some of the staff. Some of the staff became friends, and some of the clients became friends. As a matter of fact, one of the clients made an appearance in the comments of my YouTube page, which is also announced through a Pokemon video. However, through several courts later, I managed to try to find a way to get back to Sunchipp, but first through foster cares. Sunchipp was hard to control, since all the videos were just announcements of me returning and somewhat of a family game known as 7 Questions. I try not to turn that game sexual if you guys decide to play that. Fair warning.
You're someone who decided to follow me into a secret dimension that no human should know about.
Oh crap, I'm choking. I am sorry. But this is when everything decided to go downhill. Horribly. Now, you guys are probably thinking, hey, get to the real thing here. That's what I'm doing. Sunchipp Year 7. However, I'm just going to start it off a little more slowly. Like I have been doing, but it'll get interesting, don't worry. For Sunchipp Year 7, I've started a little YouTube trailer, stop motion animation, with new features actually. New features with amazingly done for me special effects. However, you can tell that the pictures were edited, though that was the best I could do. And because of after that trailer became successful, I thought, I think it's the time for a new Super Sunchipp adventure. So therefore, Super Sunchipp Adventure, Sunchipp's Revenge, started in January. Really? Really, phone? You had to do that? Really? I hope that didn't get on record, but... Okay, I lost my train of thought because my phone farted. Oh yeah, Sunchipp's Revenge began production in January. The scripting started in the beginning of January, and later on, each frame was taken throughout the middle of January, with multiple copies of the script printed out. Multiple copies, because I was expecting more actors there to show up. However, with the characters, people could do different voices, somewhat like me. However, when it comes to copies of people, Russian copies, plant versions, German double, and then the normal hero, with all the same names, but translated into into backwards text, German and Russian, it'd still be the same character, technically speaking. So, therefore, I played those 4. But anyway, let's not get to that. It was a success. However, there was some downsides 2 crew members passed away during the production of Sonchipp's Revenge. First was a grandmother figure of mine. I thought of her as my grandmother. You could go to her for anything, really. Riddles, jokes. She was doing good for her age. She was active all the time. 8 days later, though, my actual grandmother passed away. She was losing her memory. However, the sad part was, the only person she could actually fully remember was me. That's what struck me. That's what was really depressing about that death in general. Sonchipp's Revenge, I thought I had to delay because of them deaths. But something happened. Someone by the name of Katie Louise Doyle, who is now my ex, decided to show up out of the blue. Though, that grandmother figure of mine was actually her grandmother. Unintentionally. And here, we both decided we should probably date. Okay, and we did. For a little while. Until I turned 18 at this time. That's when messages all over the internet and people coming to me at the same time during my junior year literally saying, I'm going to become a pedophile. I'm going to be a rapist for dating a 14-year-old child. An 18-year-old man dating a 14-year-old child who is still a preteen, but they're still considered a child. So I had to think of something because I was hurt and I didn't want to hurt her. So here I had to try to find a way to break the news. Although I didn't know how. Automatically, because of my character thinking skills, even though thinking names are bad, I had to think of a character to supposedly cheat on her with. I never did, but here we go. I had to say something. I thought of May. And May was taken as a Pokemon trainer. However, Pokemon's May, she was 10 years old. And that'll be weird for an 18-year-old guy supposedly dating a 10-year-old. So, there was a female protagonist I thought of in a little story I wrote way before Sunchipp, known as Alien War. So, I didn't have a name for her, so I just immediately thought of May. So I told her I went with May. I should have told you, but I went with May. It was horrible for me. And you could even ask a YouTube subscriber who subscribed to me after she got the news of me trying to shut down Sunchipp. And technically speaking, I've been trying to shut down Sunchipp for a long time. And her name is Rose Servert. However, on YouTube it's Jennifer Servert. I don't know what's up with Jennifer. However, I guess if you want to keep your name clear, then it's alright. but you still call yourself Rose. But anyway, her name's probably going to be edited on that channel anyway. But anyway, she found out that I was going through a lot of stress because of people pushing me for more on YouTube. And I wanted to shut it down. I wanted to shut Sunchipp down. She confessed to an ex-member and me that it shouldn't happen. I can't shut it down because there's fans, there's subscribers, there's viewers. And I'm going to let them all down if I just shut the studio down completely. Though sooner or later, though, it's probably going to happen in life. I need to do this because I'm trying to run a life. So, Sunchipp came back for a little while, but no animations were made. All except for the memory animation when it came to my ex splitting up. It was the most depressing animation I actually made. But not the last. The last animation I made was a Five Nights at Freddy's animation. My first 3D modeled animation ever, which later on became my last. And I'm not talking about year 8's Come Little Children lyrics video, because that doesn't count. More depression struck. I went to Hershey just to get my mind off of things. There, I met Sophia. But before Hershey, I should probably mention, I was talking to a friend of mine who I met through my ex, Natara Uchiha, who was from another country, and she became more of a sister figure to me, a younger sister figure to me. I miss her a lot. I don't know what happened, but I miss her. She introduced me to a lot of interesting things. Animes and Japanese music. And ever since then, I've been listening to a lot of Japanese music. Vocaloid music as well. Even so that I've downloaded myself a little Vocaloid creator for remixes I made. Turns out I wasn't really all that good at it. Natara helped me get a lot of this off my mind. She knew it happened, but she wanted me to find out the hard way. And it's best to learn the hard way, especially when it comes to this sort of thing. So I did, and ever since then, she felt horrible. She wanted to tell me, but she didn't know how to explain it. And I don't blame her either. When it comes to stuff like that, nobody knows how to explain anything. I was broken. But then, earlier, like I said, I went to Hershey, trying to get my mind off of things, and then met Sophia. I thought I'd move on, and try to find a way to ask her out, but I was too nervous. I never knew how to actually ask anyone out at the time. But then, weeks later, a lot of my family started to have a lot of different views. Especially when Natara decided to be the one to actually open up and see what's actually happening to me. Like an actual sister should. She saw I was heartbroken. My dad didn't. He thought everything was because of growing pains. What sense does that make? I'm at my permanent size. Maybe growing an inch every 6 months. But Natara knew what was up. She saw I was heartbroken, and no one else did. People called her crazy because she saw that I was heartbroken. And I was. I didn't want her to be treated like that. I wanted to do something about it, but I couldn't. The only thing I could do was leave. And I did. It was during the end of August. And I left. We all had different views. I knew the correct one. I became afraid. But then I got messages from who was supposedly a friend of mine at the time, saying, in a week's time, I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna kill you. I blocked my father and unblocked my mom. I showed her the text messages whenever she was available to talk. But at first she didn't believe me. But then I took a screenshot, showed it to her there. After that, she immediately called my grandfather and came to pick me up. Life was a bit different since I went to West Virginia. Quiet. I didn't know how to speak to people because everybody was new-ish around the area. The only person around the area I knew was my mom. I grew attached to the family. And later, I started my senior year in October. Like normal people should be throughout the start of their school year in a new high school, they'd be a loner. And that's understandable because you don't know anybody. However, I met someone by the name of Austin Reed. He was apparently from Pennsylvania at the same time, and had the same views as me. And the same views. The state is horrible. Everybody over there told me about that state. Ever since I told them I came from Pennsylvania, they looked at me in fright, in fear, saying, please, don't kill me. Literally, that's what they said. I'm not the kind of person to kill anybody. I have a heart. I don't know about anybody else, but I have a heart. It might be hurt, scratched up, torn up. Right now, someone right now has the key to it. She has a piece of it. And she's the sweetest person ever. And that'll come up soon. After I met Austin, I met someone by the name of Mara, who ended up having something for me, and then we both ended up dating. But then I met someone by the name of Diana. Though her name doesn't like to be shouted on YouTube, let's just say Slim Giggles, since that's her YouTube name. We dated for a little while, but we didn't have the same views. and each topic of hers became more disturbing to me. All she ever talked about was her sex life with another person and smoking weed. I couldn't stand it. But throughout then, I met someone by the name of Connie. Connie Bacorn. The most sweetest person ever. She's the one who holds that piece of me today. I saw in her eyes when we started talking. She was shy at first, but when we started talking, I saw in her eyes that she was hurt horribly. A good sense of humor like the ones that she has. And it even hurts me to think about. People hurt her. It's horrible. I introduced her to some of the things on Sunchipp. The one thing that stuck out to her the most was the Turtapoo song. The Turtapoo auto-rap. But the only verse, I'm gonna take a dump on your front lawn. Turtapoo. Remixed in a rap style. But wasn't really. It was more of a joking upload, which later became her favorite. During my time of dating Diana, I lost interest in Diana. Horribly, ever since she started talking about her sex life with another guy. I wanted to ask Connie out since then, but because of Diana being around everywhere, I couldn't. I didn't want Connie to sit like this and hurt. It left a lot of stress on me. A lot. To the points that I was never home anymore. I couldn't be. Thanksgiving, I was somewhere else. And then Christmas. Almost Christmas. I was in that same place. But then, to find that nobody wanted me to return, my only choice was to return to PA, which later became, from what I compared, it was horrible. I could see why people said to me that they don't want me to kill them. I could see that now. And it was horrible. The only way as well to get rid of Diana was to cheat on her with someone who later cheated on me. I knew it wasn't going to last long. That's why I did that. But then hopefully soon, it would probably lead me and Connie to actually be together. Months later, after I graduate, well, during high school over there, it became a reality. Connie was hurt by an ex-member who later cheated on her with his stepsister. She really became hurt after that. I wanted to fix her. And that was my time to actually show it to her. I didn't know how to say it, so I waited for 2 days for maybe when she was calmer. A friend of mine, Encina Medina, she saw me struggling and decided to help me out with a poem that matched every single detail about Connie. Her blonde hair and her green eyes. Everything made her smile. Connie and I dated ever since then, and I have Encina and Rose to thank. Rose gave me advice. Encina gave me a poem that actually worked. I helped her with the poem, though. I thank you, Connie. If you're watching, and I love you. At least you know what's happened to me. Nobody else would. I graduated later on, but during the process, it made me feel good to actually feel like I succeeded in something. Connie was happy. I was happy. And throughout on, life was good. Until I got laid off of my job for health issues. Ever since then, I bothered not looking for a job, because it'll push me away from my goal line right now. And my goal line is to return to Connie. And I only have one way of doing it. And that's just riding a bike. Thanks to people in PA, they know me too much. They will refuse and have an excuse for every single time I'd ask somebody for a ride, even if it's just to grab food for myself, even though I never did, but still, that'll happen. My only chance is to ride my bike back. A lot of my money got wasted on a tattoo. A good one, too. 2 steps from hell. And the symbolize of bravery. If I knew I was going to get laid off, I wouldn't have gotten it. But it's 2 steps from hell. I can't deny it. One of the best groups I've ever heard. So my time in August right now, which will be my final, and I am making this final too. August will be my final month, and I will escape the state. Because I almost died here in PA ever since I came back. And technically speaking, I would be dead by now. I've been jumped, beaten around 24/7. My eye was swollen. My ankle was busted. I have scars from when I got hit by a car. which led me into a pothole. My legs are stiff now, but the challenge to go to Connie will happen, and I will make it happen. There was a post she also posted up at the same time. Which really got me emotional. I remember the text she also said from before that post at the same time. It related to the same thing. It got me emotional. Even thinking about the two, it still does. She never knew what love was until I actually came. Connie, you're the sweetest person ever. I don't want to fail you. I'm sorry for crying right now, but I can't help just to know that. Connie, you really are the sweetest person ever. And I don't want to hear anything different out of anybody else's mouth. I'm actually gonna... because no one knows your true inner self, ADHD or not. You're going to be your sweet, lovable, beautiful self no matter what. And I am going to return for you. I don't care what the challenge is, you're worth the pain, you're worth everything. I will take a bullet for you. I'll give up Sunchipp for you. I'm going to close Sunchipp anyway. Because it's what's right to do. The best thing to do. One of the only things to do. A lot that can't be done has to be done. If I want to start a normal life with my queen, with a new family, I have to give up Sunchipp for everything for her. And I will. Connie's worth giving everything up for. I will do anything for her. You're beautiful. Alright, Sunchipp, you gotta calm down right now. Gotta calm down right now, Sunchipp. Welcome to the hell that I live in. The state where nobody can get out alive. The state with the initials of PA. Every single person here is horrible. People out of the state can even say the same thing. No matter what state. Every single person I spoke to who has been out of state agrees with me that it is the worst state in America. Sunchipp will close. I'll make it happen. There's nothing to bring Sunchipp back with. Especially with a slow-ass laptop. Sunchipp will be no more. My life will be happier. And people will push no more. All I gotta say is, and it's probably going to be final too, this is goodbye. This is goodbye. And thanks for watching.